you for being here. I hope that you'll take a moment to hit the like and subscribe button. This is my 1 a.m. live stream. Let's chat about Freemasonry. I don't have any plans for this stream. It's really just waiting to see who joins. But if there is something you want to talk about or an idea you have, please let me know. And any thoughts, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear them. Uh, Tomorrow I'll be talking again about International Day of Truth and Reconciliation, particularly a brother by the name of Joseph Brandt. Welcome. If you're just joining us, please take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for being here. Let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry. Again, positive, negative, or neutral. I'd love to hear them. These 1 a.m. streams, at least 1 a.m. Eastern, it's just me hanging out. Well, O6 says, I'm going to call you O. That's an interesting question. So, my beliefs as a Freemason are going to be different than the beliefs of the Freemason next to me. Because Freemasonry is not a religion, so you cannot think about it in terms of singular beliefs. It's not like, for example, if I attend a church, you can assume everybody in that church has relatively the same beliefs. That's not what Freemasonry is. Beyond the belief in a supreme being, there is no kind of religious beliefs. You just need to believe in a supreme being. So there are Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Hindu, Masons. There are some maybe general philosophies that most Freemasons would hold simply because they're part of something called Freemasonry. So they're probably believe in civic engagement, being part of fraternities, civic groups. But that's in the same way, like if you're a football player, you probably believe in things like teamwork and physical fitness. That doesn't mean it's a belief in kind of a religious or spiritual context. So I believe in a supreme being. The nature of that supreme being, I'm not really religious, I'm more spiritual. I believe the supreme being can best be expressed through an ordered universe. But that's my beliefs. You'd have to ask every Freemason what their beliefs is. I hope that answered your question, O6. Let me know if it did. Tim says, I'm very sorry about your grandmother, Tim, but I hope both Tim and O6, I hope you hit the like button. I hope you hit the subscribe button. I'll hope you will let me know if what I said made sense. And if it didn't, I can try to answer again. In fairness, when it's, 1 a.m., I'm not the sharpest. Well, those religions can say whatever they want. To my knowledge, there is one religious denomination that says you cannot be a Freemason and take communion, and that is Catholic faith. But that is not from us to them. So we as Freemasons, I know many Catholic Freemasons. So long as you believe in a supreme being, that is sufficient. And like I said, I know many Catholic Freemasons. Um, the extent to which they, have issues with their church, I can't say. But beyond that, I've never known of any Muslims who say you can't join Freemasonry, nor any Jewish individuals, nor any other denominations. There may be individual priests or pastors who have ill views of Freemasonry, but that's not the same thing as it being a religious doctrine. I've known Muslim Freemasons. I know many Muslim Freemasons. Dearborn, Michigan, for example, which has a very large Muslim population. Um, there are many Muslim Freemasons who are both Muslim and attend, mosque and are practicing. I don't know what devout Muslims. So I do not believe that is the case. Well, I am not Muslim myself. I do not have. I mean, I guess culturally, I grew up Christian in Anglican church, but I wouldn't consider myself um, to be Christian in 2025. I believe in a supreme being. Beyond that, though, no particular religious faith. I mean, whether they are Shia or Sunni, I don't think it matters. Like I said, there are many, many Freemasons who are of the Muslim faith. Raven, yes, I wouldn't even use the term God. I would use the term supreme being, right, which is more of a Enlightenment era term, and I think it's more accurate. But whether it's higher power, supreme being, or God, that is kind of the understanding. When you say like Trump, yes, great architect. That's another one you could use, great architect of the universe. Um, it's interesting. Who mentioned Mecca? Tedward Evans. I was recently traveling for a Masonic trip, and I was flying from um, Philippines to Rio de Janeiro, and there was a layover in Dubai. And I look up on the ceiling of the hotel I was staying in because I had a stopover in Dubai. And I look up at the hotel and it's got this arrow that's pointing kind of diagonally from the bed. And I realized it was pointing towards Mecca because in Dubai, obviously, they need to know where Mecca is to pray. And I remember thinking that was really, really cool and a really cool moment. I was just realizing I'm in another country and how lucky I was to be able to travel and see these new countries. Um, Well, Judge Master Kingston, you are incorrect. Um, I, um, well, John, maybe I've already given up my holes for the country. I understand a lot of people have that view, Judge. I'd love to know where you came across that view. However, I would hope that my approximately 20 years of being a Freemason would give a certain, credence to at least my experiences. Not only that, but having attended Masonic events in 5 countries and 4 continents, and attending probably over 1,000 Masonic events should potentially give you a different idea, at least my experience with Freemasonry. And I hope everybody watching this, Raven, Judge, Master, Kingston, will all hit the like and subscribe button. Well, so where's your understanding of it coming from? Because when you say misled, I mean, there's an implication there that my Masonic experiences were, okay, cool, Raven, were being like led in a certain direction. So, for example, when I traveled to Rio de Janeiro, a lot of people, the brethren didn't know I was going to be there. So the implication that they misled me, they first would have to know I was coming and then put on kind of a show. The fact that I just attended and took part in their events and the majority of brethren had no idea I was arriving. Same thing with the Philippines. In the Philippines, actually, nobody knew I was arriving until I got there and met with them. Um, because there's 2 different lodges, there's a whole thing. So the point is, I mean, how could they be misleading me if in many instances they do not know I will be attending? Well, so they're not. I mean, I don't know enough about Scientology to necessarily say. I mean, if a Scientologist wanted to join Freemasonry, my understanding is Scientologists believe in a supreme being. So I believe that they could join, but I don't know enough about Scientology to be able to say, you know, how much it is. There's certainly Scientology is a much later invention than Freemasonry. Freemasonry originated in 1717. Scientology, I think the 1930s, if I recall correctly. I'm just saying it's a game. Well, I think it's a little bit more than a game. I think it's something that's important to me, if nothing else. Bob Channel. Hello, Bob Channel. From one channel, from the Square and Compass channel to the Bob channel, welcome. I hope you're doing well. And I hope you'll hit the like and subscribe button. When you talk about fancy hats and swords, I think you're talking about Knights of Columbus. Not that there aren't some fancy hats and swords in some Masonic orders, but you're not Blue Lodge precisely. In Preston Webb ritual, oftentimes the worshipful master actually wears a hat. In Texas, it's a cowboy hat. Well, I mean, I personally am not a Christian. I don't necessarily believe in Lucifer. I believe in a supreme being. However, if you are Christian and you, so Templar is a Masonic order, but again, it's not Blue Lodge. Um, we have an Order of Eastern Star. I love my Order of Eastern Star brothers and sisters. They are a great part of the Masonic tradition. But Freemasons do not worship, despite what some say, and despite how some have read about Albert Pike, Freemasons do not worship Lucifer, nor do they worship any, being in terms of every Mason. Every Mason has his own supreme being as he understands it. Okay, so yeah, so one of the Masonic orders. Um, Again, I'm not actually as conversant in York Rite as I am in Blue Lodge or even Scottish Rite. But Lon, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button if you're just joining us. And let me know what you want to chat about. And Judge, I'm just going to call you Judge. I hope that's okay. When you say Lucifer is powerful, are you working on the assumption that we as Freemasons worship Lucifer, or you believe that he's hiding something? I'd love to know kind of what your thoughts are there, and maybe how I can disabuse you of those ideas based on my experiences. Thank you, Lon. So are you a Mason and an Eastern Star member, or kind of what are your thoughts? I mean, I think Freemasonry can exist with beyond the three major religions. I think it can exist with the infinite multitude of religions. Okay, cool. I think it can coexist with Hindu and Sikh and indigenous peoples' traditions and even Wiccan Freemasons, Wiccan. People are spiritual like myself, and then yes, the Abrahamic religions as well. I mean, I don't know why you've been threatened by Masons. You shouldn't be being threatened by Masons. They might not even be Masons necessarily. They could be clandestine. You want to keep that in mind. If anybody is threatening you, Mason or otherwise, that's not okay, and you should go to the police. Wow, Jason, that's a lot of the word gay in there. Well, even whether it's Masons or Shriners or whatever it is, if anybody is threatening you, right, you should obviously go to the police. And Freemasons shouldn't be threatening anybody. I'm not sure why they would or what the context would be. Um, but yeah, I've never seen any Masons threaten anybody. I don't know why they would or what the context would be behind it. Um, well, I mean, Shriners, again, I guess what I'd say is you would go to the police. I mean, yes, Judge. I guess gay hurt. I mean, I don't mind being called. Call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for dinner. Is how I put it there. My advice is always the police is the most important thing. When you say you know more than they'd like me to know, honestly, all the secrets, I don't share them because of an oath I took, but all the secrets are out there on the internet anyways. So any Mason who gets too worried about that stuff, the door, that's, the horse has left the stable. So that happens very often. I mean, if you ever want to send me pictures, I would try to, identify them for you, but that happens incredibly often. It's one reason why I'm always telling Masons, you need to put in your will, if you pass away, where your Masonic items are and which lodge they should be returned to. Or if you don't want them returned to a lodge, but want them given to your family, which family members are to get them. Um, Illuminati is not really a thing. People think it is, but it's pretty much dead. When you say our situation, Judge, I don't know if you and I have a situation other than I'm very happy that you joined my chat. Um, do I have a sacred book? I mean, I don't have a sacred book. I have my ritual book, but that wouldn't be called sacred. I mean, it's no more sacred than a football team that has a book of its plays or a military office that has a book of standing orders, right? It's not sacred in a religious sense. It's explaining the rules and regulations and rituals of Freemasonry, but really at its core, it's no different than when I get a job and I'm given a book outlining the procedures of the workplace. Um, well, so Masonic Bible, Lon, is a little bit of a misnomer. Really what a Masonic Bible is usually I believe it's pretty much always actually the King James translation. I don't think they use other translations, but it's the King James translation. So there's the same words you find in any other Bible with the King James version, but it has a square and compasses on the cover, and it's usually used when a Mason is joining, and if he happens to be of the Christian faith, it's usually given to him as a token of a memento for his joining, and there's a space where every Mason can sign that he was there and congratulate him. But what do you see? Is I guess what I don't understand, Judge. Do you see me as a Freemason? I think. Um, I mean, do you see uh, uh, Lucifer, or I guess I'm not quite sure what that means. And Raven, they can have artwork in them sometimes. I've seen that. Sometimes, usually it's artwork that's pretty common in just Christian kind of mythos, but sometimes it's artwork that's specific to some type of Masonic parable or Masonic story. There is no like standardized, to my knowledge, Masonic Bible. Um, Beanish Danish says hi. Hello, Beanish. Thank you for being here. Please hit like and subscribe. I definitely don't know if I'm a wonder, but I try to at least make the world a better place. Well, I mean, Jesus wouldn't fulfill any Masonic prophecies because Jesus would not have been a Freemason. Freemasonry did not exist until much, much later than the time of Jesus. Masonry existed, which is the shaping of stone, but that's a different can of tuna. He was a carpenter, not a mason. Though he was a craftsman, right? There is beauty in craftsmanship. Nice to meet you as well, Beanish. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you've not done so already. I think Freemasonry is kind of a wondrous thing. I am from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Joel Cox, how old is Freemasonry? Freemasonry, it depends how you want to define it, but I go with June 24th, 1717. That is the date of the foundation of the Premier Grand Lodge of England. So I think that's the most sensible date. You can go to 1634, which is the first recorded speculative Mason. Some would go to 1390 to the Regius poem. Um, but I would use June 24th, 1717. I am a Freemason since 2007. I love Canada too. Well, when you talk about modern banking, Raven, you're talking about the Templars, which is a whole different kettle of fish, which were formed in 11 something or other, 1125, something thereabouts. Um, what rank am I? So we don't really have ranks in Freemasonry per se. We have degrees. When you start looking at ranks, you tend to be looking at more of the Scottish and York Rite type of stuff. But even then, I don't believe they use the term rank. Um, so there's not really ranks within Freemasonry per se. There's degrees. I've been a Master Mason since 2008, and I'm currently a Worshipful Master of Border Cities Lodge number 554. A lot of people call me Kane. They say I look like Glenn Jacobs. I'll take it. He's a handsome fella. Well, a member of a few different lodges, but again, I'm the Worshipful Master of Border Cities Lodge. Um, Explain that degree. Well, the Master Mason degree is a third degree within Freemasonry. Once you are a Master Mason, you are, in most circumstances, what that means is you're able to take an office within a lodge, and you are able to, basically, you're viewed as being able to now mentor other Masons. There's three degrees: entered apprentice, fellow craft. It all kind of is meant to imitate or symbolize the journey of a stonemason from a entered apprentice stonemason where he's learning the work to a master mason where he's able to teach others. Well as travel and apply his trade around the world. Ionic FL, Ionic in Florida. What part of Florida? I visited Masonic lodges in Orlando on a few occasions. I mean, I never swore an oath of silence. If I swore an oath of silence, I couldn't be here. Jacksonville, I've never been to Jacksonville. I would love to visit it. Like I said, all my visits to Freemasons in Florida have been wonderful. Is there anything occult about Masons? Um, it depends how you define occult, I guess, right? Because unfortunately, in 2025, for some reason, occult has taken on a meaning of kind of nefarious undertones, or I guess nefarious or sinister undertones, right? Occult just means, as Raven says, occult means secret. You could argue that the recipe for Coca-Cola or the corporate secrets of Coca-Cola is occult, right? So there are, um, occult qualities to Freemasonry in that there are things that are hidden or secret, but they're not hidden for nefarious purposes. They're hidden to maintain the bonds of brotherhood amongst the members. It is no different than a cult as in a family recipe, right? If you have a family recipe that you keep hidden from outsiders and keep it within the family, it's not being hidden for the purposes of anything nefarious. It's being hidden to maintain the bonds of brotherhood between the family members. And for Freemasons, we we pass down a ritual to our members, and because of that, it's important that we maintain a privacy to it. Um, yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I've heard that expression more than a few times, Joel Cox. Um, when '06, I barely see what is Freemason. So traditionally, and when I'm speaking of Freemasonry, I'm almost always speaking exclusively of the fraternal order, right? Which is you have to be a male to join. There is the Order of Women Freemasons, which does exist in Ontario. It exists in England. It's kind of semi-recognized or recognized by UGLE. There's also Eastern Star, which is a Masonic order for both men and women. Um, I mean, I would be very hesitant, Raven HQ. Freemasonry does teach you certain truths about Freemasonry. However, to apply those to a more broad world, I'd be hesitant to, right? That's not what it is. It teaches you better ways to live your life by instilling, moral lessons, but you can derive moral lessons from many different things. Again, if you join a football team, you'll learn how to live a better life by learning the value of teamwork, practice, dedication. Um, it's not about some grand unifying idea. Becoming, well, then I got to become a 33rd I gotta become a 33rd Freemason if I get to take part in the Eyes Wide Shut parties. They're not, they never show me any of the cool stuff. Here I am, just an 18th degree Scottish Rite Mason, and I don't get to see the Eyes Wide Shut parties. Clearly, I'm missing out. Though every 33rd degree Mason I know is an older Mason, and I don't want to have to picture them in some 33rd Eyes Wide Shut orgy. That is not a pleasant image at 1:30 in the morning, nor at any time. We do. Widow's sons, they exist in Ontario. They exist all around the world. They're a valuable part of the Masonic family as well, and I love them. Um, I think we in Freemasonry, sometimes people don't remember that Freemasonry is not simply or exclusively the first 3 degrees. It's building committees, it's motorcycle clubs, it's youth groups, it's Eastern Star, it's Order of Women Freemasons, it's recognition, it's Prince Hall. It's wonderful. When you're becoming part of Freemasonry, you do become part of a very big family. Um, Use your words careful, or what will happen might be, because I'm not afraid to say whatever I so choose. Um, I've been to Masonic events in Kentucky. They're awesome. Kentucky Brethren are wonderful people. I've been to Louisville and uh, where else in Kentucky? I can't think of it now. Louisville and it's going to drive me crazy. I'm going to look this up. Rainy Girl says the Oracle of Delphi. Well, yeah, so as Joel Cox says, the rituals are no more than fraternal theater. I mean, the way I always say it is the purpose of ritual in almost any context, but certainly within Freemasonry, is to create the bonds of friendship through shared experiences. The fact that we all, as Masons, go through these Masonic rituals, it bonds us together in friendship and brotherhood. We've all been through the same thing. We all know something about what it means to be a Freemason and the rituals. I truly believe that was the purpose of ritual throughout history. It was to create bonds of brotherhood or sisterhood through shared experiences. And I think that that is the way we as Freemasons do it. And it's a very valuable tool to create those bonds of brotherhood. You can create bonds of brotherhood through many different ways, right? You can create bonds of brotherhood through shared suffering or shared challenges, like in the army, through victory, like in a football team, through defeat, or through ritual. Um, well, when you say what is the Freemason's end goal, you'd have to ask each Freemason, right? Every Freemason, when he joins, will have himself his own end goal. Some want to meet new brethren, some want to make new friends, some want to get involved in charity, some want to learn more about history, some are just looking to learn more about Freemasonry in and of itself. Some want to become better public speakers. Like there's a million different kind of um, reasons why Freemasons want to Paducah, Kentucky as well, want to join. There is no one end goal. To me, the end goal is to try to build a better world through the application of brotherly love, relief, and truth. But definitely not money and power, and no stay glued animal sacrifice is not involved. Sometimes after a lodge meeting, we will have, we may have who knows what for refreshment, animals of some sort, pork or bacon or beef or whatever it is. But those animals are not sacrificed as part of our rituals. They are sacrificed by, the butcher shop and then find their way onto our tables. Um, well, most Masons, I would disagree with you a little bit, Joel, but I appreciate what you're saying. I think most Masons don't speak about it because there was this misunderstanding of Freemasonry that it was meant to be quiet. And I don't believe that to be the case. I think historically, Freemasonry is actually quite loud, and Masons were quite proud to talk about their Masonic influence and to be part of communities and to attend parades and celebrations. It was really in the 50s and 60s for a lot of different reasons that Freemasons became more quiet. Ultimately, I think it was to our detriment. Um, I try to be open, right? As Alonso points out, that was a huge part of it. The fact that at different parts in history it was persecuted. Nazi Germany, for example, it was persecuted, and that has really that did certainly in Europe create a lot of fear about discussing it. Although I will say one thing I will point out is there actually was at least one functioning Masonic lodge that existed within a concentration camp. It was called Cherished Liberty, and it was Belgian Masons in the Erstwergen concentration camp. So if Freemasons going through that horror can actually still engage in Masonic practices, then we have no excuses. Um, that's okay. We like them, and that's what matters. They don't have to like us. We like them, and they're welcome to join. And I know many Catholic Freemasons. So I do hope that the official Catholic position on Freemasonry changes, but we'll see. I thought with the new Pope being from Chicago, being born in 1959, at a time when Freemasonry was much more ubiquitous than in 2025, I thought maybe that would um, that would change. I don't know. We'll see. I hope so, though. So it was not stay glued originally from the Jewish tradition. It was not really from any religious tradition. It was from the tradition of craftsmen, like actual stonemason guilds, um, who shaped stone for their profession, and they had these trade unions, and that's from what it developed. As it grew, it took on. It kind of acted almost like, excuse the dirty language a little bit or the gross image. It kind of acted like fly paper in that it started to attach itself or collect various philosophical, religious, um, um, spiritual, mystical ideas and kind of develop them into these different types of rituals. So you certainly borrowed much from Jewish tradition, Christian tradition, Islamic traditions, um, Stoic philosophy, um, Egyptian mysticism, because at different points in its history, from 1717 to now, different Masonic authors would add to Masonic ritual, change Masonic ritual to bring in kind of their personal ideas of what the ritual should be. Ancient Egypt was a huge part of Freemasonry because in the 18th and 19th centuries, when ancient Egyptian kind of study was incredibly popular, many Freemasons incorporated that into the ritual. Um, is this academic? Well, I might be a whack job, but I like to think of myself as being somewhat academic. I certainly don't know everything about Freemasonry, but I like to think I'm conversant within it. As always, though, take everything I say with a grain of salt, as you should for everybody. So, Alonzo, or sorry, Joel, the idea of the satanic Freemason. Here's what I'll say about that. I did once get a phone call, and by the way, everybody, please hit the like and subscribe button. I would truly appreciate it. It'd be honored. I was once at my Masonic building and got a phone call from a brother, or not from a brother. So we got a phone call from somebody who said they were interested in joining Freemasonry because they worshiped Satan and they wanted to join a group that worships Satan as well. So I told him, well, we're Freemasons. We don't worship anything per se, except each individual gets to have his own beliefs about a supreme being. He asked if he could come meet me. So we met, we talked. And after I explained what Freemasonry was, he decided he did not want to join because he felt that Freemason's ideals were antithetical to the Church of Satan. Because to my understanding, the way he explained it to me, um, the Church of Satan views the supreme being as being the person and nothing above the person, which would be antithetical to the supreme being as Masons understand it. So he ended up deciding he didn't want to join. Um, I mean, I can't. Well, so we do not believe in the great architect who is of many, he is one. We use great architect as an idea for architecture, stone masonry, and buildings, but each mason believes his own supreme being, right? I think you may be misinterpreting a little bit of Albert Pike there, Raven. If you've read him, I think you might be misinterpreting your friend and mine, Albert Pike. Yumi, I will start a cult with you, buddy. If you hit like and subscribe, I will start a cult. It will be awesome. Um, I like Manly P. Hall. Never really read much of his stuff. For me, my favorite Masonic work is actually the Regius poem of 1390. Um, Albert Pike, oh my gosh. You want to take this, Joel? Albert Pike was a Mason and Scottish Rite member from the southern jurisdiction of Scottish Rite. He wrote a book called Morals and Dogma, which every non-Mason has read at some point and thinks it describes Freemasonry. It does not. It's one man's opinion about Freemasonry. And I think Albert Pike gets a lot of things right, but I also think he gets a lot of things incorrect. He was from, I used to know this, I believe Nebraska, if I recall correctly. He certainly had a major influence, though, on Scottish Rite, both in the southern jurisdiction and in Canada. You can't deny that. But how relevant he is to the Blue Lodges in the first 3 degrees is very questionable. I think I think it was Nebraska. If I'm wrong, somebody let me know. Rocket Empowerment. Please hit like and subscribe. Rocket Empowerment. So Blue Lodge is not really a real term. It's a colloquial term. It refers to the first 3 degrees in Freemasonry. Entered Apprentice, Fellow Craft, Master Mason. It's the degrees that matter. It's the foundation upon which all else in Freemasonry rests. Sometimes it's called Blue Lodge. Sometimes it's called Craft Lodge. It has different terms. I don't know even why it's called Blue Lodge. I think I used to know that. I prefer calling it Craft Lodge to Blue Lodge. Well, I mean, I think that's the '06. I think that's the greatest thing about Freemasonry. The fact that it demonstrates to the world at large that you can disagree with others' religious beliefs and still not only connect with each other, but connect with each other in a form of brotherly love. I think that is an absolutely beautiful thing about Freemasonry. And it shows it is possible. The fact that, and I'm not trying to say this to like knock you, '06, but the fact that you would even ask that question, I think it shows that there is something wrong in the world right now, in that there is this belief that people of varying faiths cannot connect on a deep level of brotherly love. And I think that's very scary. And I think that I think we absolutely can. And that's, again, that is one of the things I love most about Freemasonry. What is my opinion on Prince Hall? My views? Love Prince Hall. Great group of guys, awesome brethren. A credit to the Masonic craft. I think it's very much incredibly sad in some ways that it had to form, because it formed out of the racism of the time in Boston. But despite that, the fact that it did form and has become such an absolutely incredible and amazing part of our Masonic history and Masonic family. And I've been to different Prince Hall events. It's been wonderful. All right, Yumi, write those rules. Let me know what you say. Well, I mean, yours maybe not, but I'm sure some of those. I recognize some of those. I'm sure you can find some of them online. Um, well, it depends on jurisdiction, right? So what is and isn't regular depends. So Florida is different than, say, Ontario. In Ontario, we recognize Prince Hall, Ontario. We also recognize several different Prince Hall lodges around the world. We don't recognize Prince Hall in Florida, which I think we should change. Although what I will say is this one time I had a very, I had about a 12-hour layover in Orlando, Florida. I did that on purpose because I wanted to check out the Masonic buildings around the airport. And I found a Prince Hall Masonic Lodge. I went to it. I told them, look, I can't attend your meeting, but can I take a picture of your building for my Instagram? That type of thing. And I was lucky because when I went there, they were having a barbecue, and they said, sure. And by the way, hang out for a barbecue. We obviously I couldn't attend one of their TALD meetings. They couldn't attend one of my TALD meetings, but they still gave me some absolutely delicious food. Um, and it was a really special time. It was celebrating a football playoff game, and then from there I got to see a few other Masonic buildings. It was really fun. Um, Please, if you are just joining me, thank you so much for being here. Please hit the like and subscribe button. I do these streams 1 p.m. Monday through Friday and 1 a.m. Monday through Friday, unless I have something special happening. I do podcast episodes. I talk about a lot of different things within Freemasonry. I've been a Freemason since 2007, and I love talking about it. These 1 a.m. streams are just me answering questions. So please keep those questions coming. And if anybody disagrees with anything I say, please let me know. Wood chipper for 2028. I don't know what that means. There are many different companies that make the Masonic Bible Raven HQ because it's just such a common kind of practice. Um, well, I mean, when you say Raven, I'm a firm believer that knowledge should be free for everyone, not just the initiated. So, Raven, give me would you give me your bank information, or would you give me knowledge of your bank account, or knowledge of your SIN number, or knowledge of your address, for example? Well, but so Joel, I think I need to. Here's I'm trying to think of how I would answer that because you're on the right track. Um, but why not knowledge of your bank information? And Lewis, please don't do that, for heaven's sakes. Nobody actually do it. I'm trying to make a point, so don't actually do it. Except bank account. But again, you wouldn't give me your bank information. I hope you wouldn't, right? I think the point I'm trying to make is there are many reasons to maintain privacy. Sometimes you maintain it for financial reasons, sometimes you maintain it for security reasons, sometimes you maintain it to maintain the bonds of brotherhood, right? It's not nefarious to always maintain privacy. And so this goes to what um, Joel said. The only way to learn about being a Marine is you have to be one, same as being a Mason. The difference, I think, is, and I think this is important to understand, the Marines don't need to keep their training practices secret because the connection that comes between Marines isn't based on the secrecy of the training practices, it's how hard it is to complete them, right? Like I've seen videos of Marines going through Hell Week. The fact that, I don't, me knowing what they go through doesn't bond me to them in the way that they are bonded to each other because they actually went through it. They went through the physical and mental turmoil of going through that. Within Freemasonry, especially at the start, it's not physically challenging, it's not emotionally challenging. It becomes challenging over time because if you work hard at it and you dedicate yourself to it, like everything, it becomes a challenge. But at that start, the way we are bonded to each other is through the ritual. And so the reason why a Marine can tell you what is involved in his training, but I won't tell you what is involved in my Masonic ritual, is because by telling you that, I am impacting my connection to my brothers. Because now somebody who didn't go through it knows it, and can pretend like they went through it and can pretend like, they're part of it. It's again, the example I always use is the family recipe. If I have a family recipe that was passed on from my mother to my my grandmother to my mother to me to my kids. The reason I don't share that and keep it private is not because there's anything nefarious, but because I want to maintain the bonds of family. We in Freemasonry, we don't have, um, we have rings and whatever, and that stuff's nice, but truly, what we pass down to our brothers is the ritual. And for that reason, it's vital that we do our best to maintain the privacy of it, even though honestly it's all online anyways. But I didn't put it online and I don't want to. Thank you, Joel. Yeah, that's one of my favorite explanations for it. Um, well, I mean, Lon, if you're hungry for knowledge, you can always join Freemasonry potentially, or go knock on the door of your Masonic lodge and start talking to them and just ask them, what about Freemasonry? And again, there are some things that we should be maintaining the privacy of, but that is not the true secret of Freemasonry. The true secret of Freemasonry is that the world can be made better through the application of brotherly love, relief, and truth. Um, I don't know who Raven is, but okay. Oh, Raven up here, Raven.hq. Yes, autocorrect can be very annoying. And good for you, Raven, for volunteering in your fire and rescue. It takes a lot of bravery and a lot of courage. I know that there can be some areas and countries and continents where Freemasonry is more cliquish. Louis, I think that's unfortunate. I don't think Freemasonry should be, but that can happen, unfortunately. Welcome. If you're just joining us, please hit like and subscribe. Well, I've never been that, Raven. If you fill a glass bottle, I have no idea what any of that means. I'm going to call you Dig, says please. Welcome, Dig. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you for being here. Sometimes YouTube withholds certain comments from view for everybody. I can see them all, but not everybody can. I mean, I will try that. I never heard of that before. It was what, quarter water, quarter oil, and then you sing to it? Is it the frequencies that does that? That is true. Ritual is different. That's one of the beautiful things about it. One of my favorite things about ritual is the fact that it is different in different jurisdictions. It creates a reason to always be traveling. Um, which you as a Freemason need to be doing. Welcome from India. Please hit like and subscribe. We got the Red Rum reference. I love myself some Stephen King, so I'll take that. We are going to give it a bit of time. By the way, as once again, Dig, Raven, if you've not done so yet, please hit like and subscribe. These streams, I don't have any specific topics. I just hang out and chat about anything. So when it comes to Freemasonry. So ask away. I'll do my best to answer. I can't promise you I'll see them all, but I will do my best to answer whatever questions I can. I've been a Freemason since 2007. And we have 25 people joining, which is wonderful. Well, it wasn't too much detail, but it's not something I will either confirm nor deny. You're off on some stuff, Raven. You want to be really careful because if you're not a Freemason, a lot of what you read can be incorrect. And you want to be really careful with how much you believe versus don't believe. Or what you believe, right? Until you've joined, there's many things that you may have read that you think are true but are not. White hat. I never understood Freemason, only heard of that. Again, you don't always know that's for sure. Well, Captain, you don't have to join anything you don't want to, including Freemasonry, but Freemasonry is not a cult. Right? Cults are defined by, amongst other things, a blind worship of a leader. In Freemasonry, we are a democratic institution. Power is vested through democracy, and it's a year term. It's not vested through telling people they have to follow these leaders. Um, so it's not a cult. Well, I mean, there is no, I've never heard of any shooting in any Masonic rituals. I mean, I suppose it's possible in Texas, maybe, but even then, I highly doubt that. Um, we have cookies, Captain Blackbird. We serve cookies after many meetings, so I hope that you will join us for the cookies, if nothing else. Um, I think you might be talking about the Captain Morgan affair, to be honest, Raven, but I don't know for sure what you're talking about. Well, keep on going with these rules, but first hit the like and subscribe button. No worries, Captain Blackbird, and thank you for being here. So, Puff Daddy, I assume, is not a Freemason, at least to my knowledge. Um, Gosh, that's a tough question. So, how has being a Freemason for 2 decades helped me? I don't know if it has. I mean, I've met some incredible people. I've traveled. I've had some of the best meals of my life in Masonic events. It's made me more confident as a speaker, but that is stuff I could get anywhere. Ultimately, or not anywhere, but many places. I mean, ultimately, when it comes to Freemasonry, and this is an example I've used a million times, I like the way it sounds. So, what I mean by that is my favorite song in the world is Simple Man by Leonard Skinner. My second favorite song is actually called Prodigal by Blacktop Mojo. I mentioned my second favorite because that is a band that needs more love out there. You could ask, like, how does listening to Simple Man help me, live a better life? Well, I mean, I don't know. It does because I like the song, and that's good enough. I like Masonic ritual. I like Freemasonry. I like the way it makes me feel when I hear the ritual, when I'm part of a Masonic lodge. And I like that it provides me an opportunity to make the world a better place. Um, there are people who will find that same feeling in a myriad of other ways. Some through sports, some through joining a book club, some through poetry, some through movies. You find, there's this old expression, and there is a certain Masonic element to it: find the thing you love and let it kill you. Um, I'm not saying we should let Freemasonry kill anybody or kill me, but I'm saying you find the thing you love and it can't help but consume a part of you. And for me, that happens to be Freemasonry, right? But when people ask me now, what will Freemasonry, what will I get from Freemasonry? My answer is always nothing. You get nothing from Freemasonry because it's not about what you can get from it, it's about what you can give to it. And by giving to it, what you can give to the world. And in the process, maybe you'll fall in love with it. The same way I fell in love with the song Simple Man, and the same way I fell in love with Freemasonry. It's not about what it does for me, it's about how it makes me feel. Um, we do not make each other rich. I mean, I'm working on it. If anybody wants to help make me rich, you can do so by going to patreon.com. Patreon.com/square and compass. You can sign up for anything from $3 a month to $50 a month to free. And it helps me continue my efforts to talk about the ways Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it was located. We got Lon with the Sub Rosa. I mean, I think to me it's about building up the community to make it better. But ultimately, the extent to which you love Freemasonry is a personal experience, right? It's like being on a football team. I use this example a bunch in this stream. Being on a football team, you want to build each other up, but that doesn't mean everybody enjoys being on a football team. Um, right? I think you need to understand, you need to understand, yes, there's benefits to it, but that's not why you join. You should never join for what you can get from something. You should always join based on what you can give to it. I think that's true for anything in life. First, think about what you can contribute, not what you can receive. I think you'll lead a better life that way. Not quite Daniel Barry Sports Highlights. It is Tuesday for me. It is Tuesday at 2 a.m. But please hit the like and subscribe button, Daniel Barry. I'd appreciate it. I mean, if you want to give me money each month through Patreon, I'd appreciate it. But from a Masonic perspective, you need to give more than that if you want to have a good Masonic career. You need to give your time, your attendance, your consideration. Um, but Captain Blackbird, I mean, patreon.com/square and compass. I'd really appreciate it if you could. Um, yes, Joel is not wrong a lot of time. Um, And definitely not that, Captain. I mean, maybe I joined wanting that, but I never got it. So, what can you do? But a lot of time, if you want to get a lot out of it. Mark, unfortunately, nobody's really employed as a Freemason, but I hope to change that one day. I'd love to see us be able to earn a living through Freemasonry. Probably one of my biggest debates with other Masons is my belief that we as Freemasons should put a level of desire on trying to turn Freemasonry into professional endeavor. Hence, the Patreon. Yes, autocorrect is a challenge. I mean, I don't think it keeps you poor and positive. I think it keeps you maybe poor, but it keeps you relevant and keeps you contributing, right? I have no interest in being rich and miserable, if anything. I'd rather be poor and positive than rich and miserable, I guess. But I don't think that's what it's about. It's about being relevant and contributing, which ultimately I think you will find more riches of various sorts doing it that way. Ask not what your lodge can do for you, and I'd say even more broadly, ask not what Freemasonry can do for you. Some people will, but very few. I'm not really, because there's not enough members to really make networking worthwhile, right? So, Mark, I mean, it happens, but it's rare because you'd be better off probably joining like a professional association outside of Freemasonry. There's really not enough members to justify doing it for that purpose. It has happened, um, but it's rare. Nobody's getting any tranquilizers. That's everybody calm down. I don't have time to deal with people getting tranked on my stream, but thank you very much. Probably, Captain, it sounds like you might be in danger. But hey, you might be able to kick all of our butts. I have no idea. So I'm not even, nobody try anything with anybody, because it would be, I don't want to deal with that on my stream. I have enough issues as it is. We don't need to, sleep deprivation. Not everywhere, Captain. Again, it depends what ones you've seen. I mean, I know many Masonic buildings that are located on the second floor above a pharmacy, and they just rent out the space for their meetings, and it's not on any particularly special street. I've seen also Masonic buildings that are absolutely grandiose and absolutely beautiful and absolutely rich, at least looking, whether it is or not. Romeo, Michigan, Windsor, Detroit, Philadelphia, UGLE. Um, I mean, Lewis, go ahead, ask the question. Let's see if it does blow all of my shit out of the water. But let's have no tranquilizers and everybody is safe. That's the goal. Captain Trips, are you referencing Stephen King's The Stand? I love Stephen King and I love The Stand. It's a great book. One of my goals in life is to visit a lodge in Morocco. I would love that. Um, I mean, I've been to lodges in Europe. Again, some of them are very well off, some not so much. It really depends. Where's the woman? I mean, I don't have a woman. I have a cat in my life, Bandit, and that is what I have thus far. And I love my cat, by the way, so that's good enough. And then the lodge takes up the rest of my time, for better or worse. But welcome. Thank you, everybody, for being here. As always, please take a moment, hit the like and subscribe button. What is the gotcha moment? I mean, I'm well aware of how much time Freemasonry takes up in my life. Don't worry. There's not a gotcha thing. I'm always trying to find a balance, but so far no luck. I would love to see that, Joel. That would be incredible. Um, I got to make it to more parts of Florida, to see Freemasonry therein. I really have not had any luck. Well, I shouldn't say that. Again, I loved all of my Orlando trips. I've been to probably 5 or 6 lodges in and around Orlando. I wish I could see more of it because, yeah, I think it would be incredible. Peace from Michigan. Julie, I love Michigan. I'm right across the river from you guys in Windsor. Michigan is an absolutely incredible state. A lot of really incredible Freemasons in Michigan, and I love the Detroit Masonic Temple, Dearborn, Livonia, beautiful place. So thank you, Julie, for being here. Julie, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button, and let me know how you're doing. I promise your kids are safe from me. Raven, please hit the like. Oh, sorry, Raven, you can ask a question. And Captain, while you're doing that, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe and check out my Patreon. I love Dearborn, Michigan. I am really good friends with a ton of Masons in Dearborn, Michigan. They're awesome people. Dearborn's a great city. Um, I would say when it comes to like Muslim Freemasons, the most it's very frequent in Dearborn, Michigan, for obvious reasons, along with obviously Morocco would probably be the most. I love Nashville, Achilles. Nashville is an incredible. Thank you, Captain. Nashville is an incredible Masonic building, one of the most beautiful Masonic buildings in the world. Do you follow the rightful Lord? I follow my supreme being, which might not be the same as your rightful Lord. Nor do I follow Yumi for that matter, right? It depends on how you define it. I would share a table with you. I would share food and drink with you. I would not believe you, because it sounds like what you're saying is you're an angel, but that I don't have to believe you to enjoy your company. Um, I wish you the best of luck, I guess, in your endeavors. Well, Yumi, if you still love me, then you'll hit the subscribe button and check out my Patreon. Um, or here's what I'd say. I would believe that you believe what you're saying, but I do not believe it is accurate. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name. What a question that is. And, well, there you go. Captain Blackbird is. So now we're getting into theology, and thank you, Yumi, for that. And that's tough because I'm not a theological expert by any means. And also, I can only speak from my view on where evil comes from. Um, Thank you, Jahaje. And it's wonderful that your husband is a Freemason. Sounds like he's a great guy, as Freemasons ought to be and should be. Um, I think that evil comes from our basic recognition and understanding that as primates, we are connected to one another and require the health and well being of one another to have success. And based on that understanding, we recognize that things that are done to harm an individual is harmful to the group and is therefore evil. I think that is where evil comes from in a very basic sense. Um, I definitely would not. We're all primates, Captain. I'm very sorry to tell you. Are we responsible for our own life? Um, yes, we are responsible for our own life, but we are also responsible for understanding that our life affects others. So, for example, one thing, and I don't know how Joel would agree or disagree with me on this, I often argue that we as Freemasons are responsible for maintaining our health, both mental and physical health, and well being. The reason is not only that we're responsible for our own life, but because by being healthy, we are better enabled to help others and contribute to the world and contribute to our Masonic lodges. If we're suffering heart attacks and in the hospital for, months on end, we're not able to contribute our skills and abilities. I think we as Freemasons are called on to be healthy and to lead a healthy life, not simply for our own benefit, but for the benefit of those around us. Shemshu, welcome back. Thank you for being here. It's wonderful to have so many people joining me. I mean, I don't view the world as exclusively physical, but I think that there is physical and there are concepts. Concepts I view as equivalent to Plato's like ideals. So, for example, 2 + 2 = 4 is a concept. It's not a reality. It's a concept that informs the ordered reality that we see, and because it is ordered reality, it allows us to make moral judgments. I think we live to serve one another. I think there's a fairness to that. Mark, I would say as a Freemason, we live to build. Um, we live to build each other, and we live to build um, the community. Well, I'm glad you escaped Shemshu, because, I've never been part of a cult, but they do not seem like they are enjoyable experiences. Is the other the hell of Saskatchewan? Sasquatch? I mean, I hate Saskatchewan, F Kangs, if you're talking about Saskatchewan. If you're asking if I'm a Sasquatch, yes, I am. So please hit like and subscribe. Cornerstones are important. I've actually done a couple cornerstone ceremonies in Windsor and loved them all. They were wonderful. I don't know what you mean. Is the other the hell or our expectations? I think if I had to define hell, it would be being placed in a position where you cannot contribute to the world around you. That to me would be hell. Sartre, okay. I don't think Sartre is a Freemason. I should check that. I think to me, if you had to ask me what hell would be, it would be being unable to contribute to the world. That is something I would hate. Yeah, Yumi is here busy creating his own cult in the stream, which is great. I look forward to getting a phone call from the CIA asking me about this new cult, or the FBI, even though I'm Canadian, which is fine. Um, is Ethics by Sartre? I mean, or is Ethics by Aristotle? I think it's by the latter, right? Who wrote Ethics? Aristotle. Okay, yeah. I have not, but I heard about it. I have no idea what that means, F Kang, but please hit like and subscribe. Would I keep the death note or ignore it? Are you going to be killing me? Name I can't pronounce? Because if you will, and you're giving me a note, I guess I would keep it. Or is it the movie? I do not know to what you're referring, but I do not want to go quite yet. I'm having too much fun here on Earth at the moment. And even if I'm not having fun, I feel like I'm contributing a lot to the world, and that makes me happy. So, go visit it, Achilles. I believe that they offer tours. It's the Grand Lodge building of Tennessee. It's an absolutely gorgeous building. It's beautiful. It's all about, it's the seat of the Grand Lodge in Tennessee. It's incredible. And I've taken many pictures of it. Uh, well, I saw that quote in Afterlife. Ricky Gervais and the girl on the bench were saying it, but I don't know who said it originally. But I agree with that. I would say, from a Masonic perspective, what you could say is the world is made better when men build temples, the interior of which they know they will never sit in. I can't tell you that, Billy, but you can hit the like and subscribe button. Well, because people keep coming in and out of the stream, and I don't want to miss them, right? Um, and I don't want them to not hear me say it. What I contribute, hopefully, is my discussion on Freemasonry, and why I think it's relevant to the world and what I love about it. Is there discrimination? I mean, I hope there's not discrimination. Oh, they do tours, Achilles. I'm nearly positive they do tours. So I've taken tours of it, and obviously I'm a Mason, but I believe they give tours for non-Masons as well. Um, I have never, Mark, but I really want to go. I would love to visit. I've talked to people from there and done interviews with them. Never been there though, and I'm really sad about that because it's an incredible place. All right, Captain Blackbird once had a tour, so there you go. They do offer tours to the public. I believe that they did. Um, I mean, Freemasons are human beings, and unfortunately, what that means is there will be Freemasons who are discriminatory. It sucks that is the case, that discrimination exists. But hopefully, I believe the Masonic principles are one that is against discrimination. And so I would hope that you do not see discrimination in Freemasonry. Um, the questions that they ask more than the answers. Knowing the right questions is probably better. Rebel Duster, welcome. Thank you for being here. As always, I hope you will, let me know how it's going. You're covered in bugs. Is this like the movie Bug? One of my favorite, movies. I pee while I'm sitting because I have no legs, but I don't think that's what you mean. Oh my gosh. Managing your cable tow. What a question. Charlie, I assure you I am not. If you do genuinely see bugs, then I hope that you'll find somebody to talk to because I promise you there are no bugs on me. Managing my cable tow. Because it's a struggle, and it's been a struggle for me for 20 years, and it's a struggle for a lot of other Masons for a lot longer than that. Try to be 100% of what you are whenever you're doing it. So if you're at a Masonic meeting, be 100% in the Masonic meeting. Don't be in the Masonic meeting and then be thinking about what's happening at home. By the same token, don't be hanging out with your kids and thinking about your next Masonic event. Just try to be 100% in the moment of where you are when you're there. That is absolutely vital. Otherwise, you're never going to feel like you're getting the full experience of Freemasonry or the full experience of the family life or the job. So, when you're home, be 100% at home. When you're at lodge, be 100% at lodge. That is the most important thing. Um, I hope that made sense. All right, grab it. I think we might need to put you in timeout. I usually don't put people in timeout. As a general rule, I try to avoid it, but sometimes you got to. Joel, did that make sense? My answer? Some guys, but I am enjoy. I mean, we have a chat rate of 22, which is the highest chat rate it's ever been. I just muted one guy, but I try to generally avoid muting people. I mean, but believe me, I've struggled with the cable tow. I think we all have. It really is one of the hardest parts of being a Freemason. I think discrimination in the sense of you can't do everything. So certainly from a time perspective, you have to discriminate like, what am I going to be doing right now? I could be sleeping, but I'm discriminating sleep to be here on the stream. Um, all right, Charlie, I'm going to put you on mute as well. Again, I'm not. I hope that you can, if you do genuinely see me in bugs, I hope that you find somebody to talk to. Call a crisis line. And if you're just trolling, then you're now timed out. You're not blocked, Lon. I see you. Um, Joel, by all means, ask a question. I'll do my best to answer it. I can't make any promises, but I'll do my best. I'm well, Yosika. How are you doing? And please, Yosika, hit the like button and subscribe button if you're new. I think you are. And I appreciate you being here very much. As a general rule, I try not to mute. Why did pessimism evolve? Well, I think pessimism evolved as a protection mechanism. If you're optimistic and you're wrong, you get disappointed. When you're disappointed, you lose hope. When you lose hope, you lose motivation. When you're pessimistic and something goes wrong, you tend not to have as far to fall, and you're more likely to be a little bit more, you're not going to be as quick to give up, right? But generally, I think pessimism is probably not a healthy approach. But people who are truly pessimistic would never call themselves pessimistic. They would call themselves realists. I do. I'm missing my legs. I'm in a wheelchair right now. I was born missing my legs, Achilles. So it's funny. You're called Achilles heel, and I have no heel. Hence, I have no weaknesses. So I guess that's what I'll say. I get it. I think I'm an optimistic absurdist in some ways, but I wouldn't call myself a nihilist. I think Freemasonry fights against nihilism. I think I have a natural tendency to be a little bit nihilistic, but Freemasonry does push against that. Um, I mean, Joel, I've heard kind of stories like that a million times. I'm sorry you didn't get the guidance you're looking for within Freemasonry. Though Freemasonry is not really designed necessarily to give guidance. It can give support in times of struggle. One of the things I've encouraged all my Masonic brothers to do is get psychological first aid training. So when there is a crisis event in one's life, like the loss of a family member, there are Masons around who can lead them to the right supports to deal with the psychological trauma of that, or know what to say or how to act. I think in those moments, you have to ask yourself two questions. First, aside from what you were hoping to get from Freemasonry and didn't, do you still love Freemasonry, love the ritual, love the idea of it? And if that is the case, then what you need to do is keep going and remember what you didn't get from Freemasonry and try to make sure you're the type of brother who gives that to others, right? Um, so if you see a brother who's struggling, who needs some guidance, who's dealing with the passing of a family member, remember when you did not receive that guidance and try to give it to them. I think is what you have to do. It's interesting. Louis C.K. has an incredibly funny bit about Achilles. Made me laugh every time I heard it. I genuinely loved it. So I would encourage everybody to check that one out. It is hard to find the time. It's that cable tow idea again. But generally speaking, I think everybody has the time, which is about priorities. If you can prioritize Freemasonry, you can find the time for it. If you ever get the chance, type in Louis C.K. Achilles, and you will laugh. At least I laughed. And try every day to find something positive. It's really hard, believe me, but I promise you there are ways that you can find positive things. Or a basket and a stick like a fry basket. Yes, that would work really well also. But thank you, everybody. This has been a really wonderful stream. Thank you, everybody who's joined so far. I truly appreciate it. So cable tow, there's different references, but when we talk about the cable tow in Freemasonry, usually what we're talking about is the length of our commitment. So if we say attending this meeting is outside of our cable tow, usually what we mean is there's family commitments or work commitments that are interfering with our ability to attend a Masonic event. So cable tow is usually meant to be a reference of the length of your meetings. What's easy to give and hard to receive? I think I've heard that before, but I don't remember. Trust? Maybe. Yeah, Louis CK has not passed away, to my knowledge, unless it happened just today. But I just saw an interview with him like a couple days ago. He's very funny though. And it's also especially hard to take your own advice, not just the advice of others. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think I've heard that before. We got a bunch of hearts. That means it's Smokey the Clown. Smokey, usually. Smokey, thank you if it is you. Thank you for being here. I really had a great time at our 3 p.m. stream today. Oh, Charlie Kirk? Yes, Charlie Kirk did pass away. Who is this hamburger? This hamburger is named Cameron Adamson, and he would like to get you to like and subscribe. I don't think any of us know how long we've got, unfortunately, or fortunately, that maybe if we all knew exactly when we're going to go, that might create more problems. So, um, I guess what I'd say is I just hope whatever time, like the time you have, you enjoy it, but you also, more importantly than that, try to make things better for others around you. I think that's really key. I mean, at least for you guys. For me, luckily, I'm going to live forever. So just keep that in mind. I hope what I gave is a better world for those around me. When you say no bugs everywhere, are you seeing bugs too? If everybody's seeing bugs, it's going to start to freak me out because one of my favorite movies of all time is Bug, starring Ashley Judd. Haley, hi, I'm from South Africa. Hello from South Africa. There's a lot of Freemasonry in South Africa. Haley, let me know how you're doing. Please hit that like and subscribe button and let me know if you have any questions or thoughts on Freemasonry. I mean, I would like to live forever, but I think you're right. You'd probably get bored, Yumi. You'd probably get bored over time if you were living forever. Well, I mean, let's not be doing that, Lon. Uh, I mean, South Africa has its history, but I know many people from South Africa who are very cool people. You can't judge a people by the political systems under which it operated, certainly not in the past. Well, let's not do that either, Yummy. Let us actually say we're going to keep this stream going for another 5, 10 minutes. Then I'll probably end it. It's been a great. I've loved the questions. I don't remember. I've never seen Highlander. I know that might get people mad at me in the stream. That's another thing I don't have going for me. No money, no woman, no nothing, no seeing Highlander. I'll probably, I know, Lon, but I do try to keep my stream somewhat light. Um, my next stream, by the way, will be today, technically, at 1 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to talk about Freemasonry and Indigenous or First Nations peoples, because today is National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. So there's lots of really cool history there. Well, I don't want to be bored, though. And if I lived forever, I think I would be, so. If you're inclined to go up on the wall, I don't know what that means either. See, I think, like, whenever I um, hear that, I always think of, like, there can be only one. But the problem is, I don't know. I'm not conversant in Highlander mythology. I think to a certain extent you're right. Freemasons are very often, or not Freemasons, people. Humans are very often addicted to danger, which is unfortunate. Well, I wouldn't be anything dead. I wouldn't have any feelings, Louis. That'd be the whole point, right? I wouldn't be bored nor not bored. I would be, I think, unaware of my existence at that point. I mean, I'd probably be fine dead. I mean, I didn't exist for most of the history of the universe. For about 13.8 billion, however many trillion million, up to 1983, I didn't exist at all, and I was fine. So, also, I need tomorrow a haircut. That's what I'm going to get. You might see me with a haircut tomorrow morning. I hope that you will join me. A lot of people are here. This is the first time on the stream. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you'll come back at 1 p.m. It'll be another really fun stream. There's just so many things to do. I mean, boring people get bored. So ILLIIIILL. Maybe you're right, and you actually wouldn't get bored. It's very possible. If you join the cult of Yumi, I'm sure you'll never be bored. I don't get that. But then if this is all for nothing, why would it be in vain? I don't understand I don't understand where that idea would come from. I mean, why, if I listen to Simple Man and I get enjoyment out of that song, like, that's not in vain. Whether there's an afterlife or not, I still have that moment. Seems worth it. Well, I think so. Yeah, Louis. Like that's the danger, right? I think if you get to a point where there's nothing to do, and you've done everything, then what is there left to do? That becomes the danger, right? What was the quote? Right, the gods envy us because we're mortal. Um, I would think that, things or creatures that are immortal may envy the mortal, may soon grow to envy the idea of death. I'm number 4, Yumi. Put me down. I'm number 4. Good for you, Jim H. Good for you. Please hit like and subscribe. I mean, scarcity is something that creates a level of value, right? Life is valuable because it's scarce. And you would still, to a certain extent, get that scarcity if you were, let's say, naturally immortal but could be killed. But if you were immortal and could not be killed, then there's no scarcity. That creates, I think, a level of both being taken for granted as well as boredom. Well, thank you, Jim H. I am a handsome person. I am a handsome man. I am a handsome man. I hope everybody agrees with that, and I hope everybody follows his lead. That does not sound fun to me. I do not want to get eaten by a whale and taken on a tour. So Achilles. So the Louis C.K. bit I was talking about was the Achilles bit. If you type in Louis C.K. and Achilles, I think it pops up. And yes, Nashville is awesome. And Achilles, I hope you follow me on some of my other channels, Patreon, Instagram, etc., etc. Well, again, I could follow that rule because I'm missing my legs, so I have to sit to pee. Nothing. Sometimes maybe the fade to black is the best thing. Generation X. Weren't you on to something else before? Welcome back. When I think of Generation X, I think of Degeneration X, and then I want to say break it down. That's good. I'm glad you're everywhere, and it's wonderful to have you join. That makes you think that you're like an AI bot, Generation X. That is true. It would take me a long time to do everything that I could do, and I could build a pretty big temple. I love Degeneration X. That's the question. I'm going to make that a poll question because then I'm curious. I don't know, but when you say that you're in the machine with me, Generation X, that's what I think of. This has nothing to do with Freemasonry, but it can't always be Freemasonry. So ask this question. See how many wrestling fans we got in the stream. Which one's better? What was Lovecraft's cat's name? I like Lovecraft the author. I thought he was awesome. Who was Lovecraft's cat? That's right, Yumi. I got 2 words for you. DX is winning with 3 votes at 100%. I mean, I'll probably be going to sleep in a second. I'm going to be ending this stream, and then I'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. But thank you so much to everybody who's joined. It's been a wonderful, wonderful stream. I don't know what the cat's name is, and I guess I can't look it up, so I guess I'll never know. He was, but I liked a lot of his work. It was really, really great. He was, Stephen King's favorite author, and he features prominently in this movie I really like called Incident in a Ghostland. So, yeah, no, I think it's very much appreciate that you all are here. When you say I can't say it, is that because if I say it, like something will happen? I'll open up a portal to the other universe? Oh, all right. Yes. I did not know that. That surprised me a little bit that he would do that, but I know he was that. Generation X, hell yeah, monsters. I mean, H.P. Lovecraft was the master of universal horror, right? Which was the idea that the horror is from the outside of our universe or dimensions and is coming into it, which is a really cool thing. No, I like H.P. Lovecraft. I've got a few of his books. I got his. Oh my gosh, he did a great story, The Pigman's Axe, if I recall it correctly. And also, In the Mouth of Madness was a great movie based on his works. So, I don't know he inspired Batman. He inspired, like I said, Stephen King. Oh, Arkham. Yeah, that makes sense. I never thought of that, but yeah, that does make a lot of sense. I did not see the ninth configuration, Michael H., but I'm sure it was really, really cool. All right, guys, I think we're going to call this stream. I promise I will be back at 1 p.m. Everybody watching it with me this 1 a.m. time, I hope that you will join me again. Stifler's mom, wow, that takes me back to my younger days. Your face is cool, like one of the 90s Mad Max. I will take it. I will take having a cool face. If Stifler's mom, you hit the like button and the subscribe button, I'd very much appreciate it. We usually chat about Freemasonry. However, sometimes I talk about other things. I'll check it out for sure. All right. One question, Yumi, while we wait for Stifler's mom to like and subscribe. Hit that notifications bell. Yes, hit that notifications bell as well. It's next to the subscribe, so you'll always know when I'm back on stream. Thank you, Yumi, for reminding me of that. I never tell people to hit the notification bell, which is one of my greatest errors. Thank you. So, Stifler's mom, are you a fan of American Pie, the movie, out of curiosity? I've heard that a lot. He's a very handsome fella, and he could destroy me. So I have to say he's a handsome fella, but I will take it, and I appreciate that very much. Who is Sam Hyde? Did he write American Pie? I don't recognize the name. See, I'm not a big comedy fan. For me, it's scary movies and scary movies is what I love. And then I love Hallmark Christmas movies and romantic movies as well. I will do that, Louise. I promise. If you hit subscribe, I will browse the other losers on YouTube. But why are you calling me a loser? What did I do to you? Just here hanging out, trying to talk about my love of Freemasonry. Well, perfect. Ring that bell. See, I mean, I know I'm a loser, but you don't have to say I'm a loser. You know. All right, guys, this has been really fun, and thank you, everybody. Like I said, it's definitely been one of the most people I've had on stream, one of the most active chats. Thank you, Louis, for subbing at least. I appreciate that. 1 p.m., I'll be back. Gonna have Freemasonry and First Nations. Wait, 78 Cell says ciao. Hello, 78. Um, there we go. We can be the Losers Club, hence Stephen King. I am not AI Boko. At least I don't think I am, but how would I know? I agree Freemasonry should stick around. No worries, Yumi. You got to go to work. Tell me something about Freemasonry. I mean, tell you something about it. It was the starting date for the Premier Gun Lodge of England is June 24th, 1717. It traveled to New Zealand the same way it traveled around the world on naval ships and merchant ships. And I don't know how many Freemasons exist in New Zealand, but it is very popular around the world. And I believe it is fairly popular in New Zealand as well. I hope that that gave you at least something about Freemasonry, and I hope you'll check out the Masonic Center. Which video game? Was it a good video game, Boko? I hope it was. No, I mean, banking existed way before Freemasonry. But I think what you're thinking of is the Knights Templar, which didn't invent banking, but it did invent kind of the modern banking system in a lot of ways of lending and receiving and kind of having branches almost. Um, but the Knights Templar is separate from Freemasonry. It's a different organization that eventually became an appendant body. But it existed around 11 to 1308, and Freemasonry first came into existence again in 1717. There's a lot of really cool stuff, Stifler, about Freemasonry. It's what I love to talk about. I've been a Freemason since 20 years. Believe me, I don't know anything about, I don't know, excuse me, everything about Freemasonry, but I can at least share my experiences and how and why I feel it's an important part of my life and why I love it. No, so when you're talking about there are the stone Freemasons who I mean I have nothing but infinite respect for because believe me, I can't build anything to save my life. So I'm not a stonemason, but I'm a Freemason since 2007. But if you were to ask me to build a wall, you would be incredibly disappointed with the job I did, or the very, very crummy job that I did. So. Kuda Leap. I have no idea what that means from Barat, but thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. I'm working on it, Yumi, but that's very kind of you to say, and I appreciate that. I mean, I don't necessarily, well, when I say freestone mason, I just mean stone mason. They sometimes were called Freemasons because they worked with a certain type of stone, but really I meant to say stone masons. Another word for them is operative Freemasons, which means they're operative as in they perform the operation of creating stonemasonry and Masonic buildings. Speculative Freemasons, which is what I am, is another word for like a Freemason, which means I can't build things. It's more about the moral lessons therein contained. I do not because I'm not Christian, but I know many Christian Freemasons who do. Freemasonry is not a religion. There are many different religions represented within Freemasonry, as well as many different beliefs, spiritual beliefs or otherwise. Mika, I mean, Freemasons love building anything out of stone, especially stonemasons. Walls, chimneys, cathedrals, lighthouses. I don't know. Can you build a fence out of stone? Probably. I mean, I mean, I'm a Freemason. Some people here are Freemasons. Some people aren't. This is open to the public. This is me talking about why I love Freemasonry. Frederick, Joseph Smith, he founded Latter-day Saints of, right? He was a Freemason. I don't know much about the Mormon Church, so I can't say to what extent he borrowed Masonic practices when creating his church. But, um, I know he was a Freemason, if it's the one I'm thinking of. It depends how much of an atheist you are. If you are 100%, you don't believe in any supreme being of any sort, of any type, then you would not be able to join. But if, let's say, you're like me and you believe the supreme being as being kind of the representation of the ordered universe, then I got in. You have to describe that with your kind of the people you're interested in joining in at the lodge. So Frederick, yes, he was. And by the way, Frederick, I hope, again, I say this to everybody when they first come in, please hit the like and subscribe button. Well, but a Satanist wouldn't want to join Captain Blackbird. At least that's my point. Because again, having met with one Satanist, after discussing Freemasonry with them, he decided he did not want to join because he said it was antithetical to the beliefs of Satanism, particularly the idea of a supreme being, because to a Satanist, he said the supreme being is oneself, which would not constitute a supreme being for the purposes of Freemasonry, at least in most cases. Not quite normal. I agree with that. And by the way, not quite normal. I'm not quite normal myself, so I get it. Thank you for being here. It's wonderful to have you join. Well, he was not a Satanist. He was a spiritualist and he was a Luciferian, but he viewed Lucifer and Satan as being different creatures. Lucifer was the being in the garden that gave knowledge to Eve. He was more like a Prometheus figure. Satan, the fallen angel, was considered a different creature within those circles. But in fairness, I've never actually met any Luciferian Freemasons. Boko, I mean, good for you for following Jesus Christ. I would never, mock your faith, and that's awesome if you find comfort in it. I think you should be a little bit kinder to the world, though. I mean, believe me, there's a lot of problems in the world, but there is some value and some beauty to the world. And as for I will enter the kingdom of heaven, I really hope that's not anytime soon because I think the world is better with you in it. Well, the opposite of a Freemason would be a non-Mason. It had nothing to do with slave or not slave, right? It's just one who's not a Freemason. But I do appreciate. Well, Nika, I mean, he's welcome to say his beliefs. I have no problem with that. And people are welcome to kind of accept them or not accept them. Nika, I hope you'll hit the like and subscribe button, by the way. It's been a great stream in terms of the number of people I've had joining and subscribing and et cetera, et cetera. And it's been great just to see the number of people I've had join so far. Hopefully tomorrow at 1 p.m. we'll get, again, more people joining as well. It's going to be absolutely wonderful. I have no doubt. Well, let's not be shaming anybody. Yes, I think I will cry myself to sleep, Louise, but thank you everybody for being here. It's been wonderful. 1 p.m. Hope to see you back. Freemasonry and First Nations or Indigenous people. Well, I guess I'll answer that question. Never mind. Marcus Aurelius is awesome. Every lodge, Captain Blackbird, sets its own prices, sets its own dues. For example, my average dues payment for each lodge I'm a member of is between $100 and $200 American per year. And you usually pay per year, right? There's usually a one-time payment when you first join, which can be up to $1,500 for that one-time payment and as low as $500. But then after that, it's much less expensive. Now, there are lodges that are more expensive. There are lodges that are less. But that $1,500, again, that's the high end. up to as low as 500. And those are one-time initiation fees. After that, it's like I said, after that it's about $100 to $200 per year to be a Mason. Some are as low as $50 per year in Texas, for example. So it really just depends on kind of the lodges to which you are joining and what their operating costs are. Snacks are wonderful. I support that 100%. I wish I could pay my dues in snacks. All right, guys, thank you all so much. I will see everybody soon. Have an excellent night. Hope to see you all 1 p.m. today. So for me, that's about 10 hours from now. All right, bye.